At Cox Mobile, we know you're smart. You brush your teeth in the shower to save time, make coffee ice cubes for your cold brew, and wear goggles to cut onions. You also added Cox Mobile. So smart. Now you're running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability and saving on your Cox internet. It's ingenious, just like you.
Aw, thanks.
Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox postpaid internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Other restrictions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
I'm Victoria Cash. Thanks for calling the Lucky Land Hotline. If you feel like you do the same thing every day, press 1. If you're ready to have some serious fun for the chance to redeem some serious prizes, press 2. We heard you loud and clear. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com right now and play over 100 social casino-style games for free. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Peter basically said that, we're close. We want to have somebody in that can get in for the Leagues Cup and get some time in so that we can get them we'll be able to use them for the Open Cup and for the last part of the season. So I don't know if that means for this game. They haven't made an announcement if it'll be for the next game, or Peter expects to make a deep run in Leagues Cup. But I don't know. He made it sound like there would be a player coming.
Back at it again with another shade of blue. We are here as always to start off your week with all of the Kansas City soccer news, happenings, goings on. That it was not a great weekend or a great last week for Sporting Kansas City, but we got a win for the Current. We got Olympics starting up. There's a lot for us to get to. I'm not all doom and gloom about the boring draw, but let's get into it.
I thought you were going to say it was a bad week for me.
Definitely a bad week for you, Thad.
Yeah.
You all right, man? How you doing? How you feeling?
A little sore neck, a little headache, but
okay. All right.
Mostly going away. Small car crash. Totaled car, but
Totaled car.
Yeah.
We're glad you're okay. You're here. This is in studio, so I can confirm. I'm looking at him in the eye. He's moving around. Looks all right.
No missing limbs. The other person was all right. No injuries.
And you were very complimentary of the other person.
Yes, you were. I noticed that.
What a guy you are, Thad. What a guy.
I was complimentary?
Yeah, you said she's a very nice young lady.
Yeah, she was nice. She was very apologetic. She took the blame, and it was her fault. And she was on the border of tears, and I'm calming her down. Like, no, it's okay.
Right. Okay.
Felt like it being a dad is pretty much what I was doing. So
you didn't say my dog's in the back seat and it's now dead? You didn't? No. Okay.
Oh, my God. Whoa. That escalated.
Actually, it's pretty funny, though, because I feel like Robert actually gets my sense of humor right at that moment. Like, well, my dog, I was taking it to the vet.
Well, no need to do that now.
Yeah. I don't have to pay for the euthanasia now, so that's a bonus. No, I would have taken it both directions at the same time.
You just showed more sympathy to the person that caused this suffering in your life, and that is more than a lot of people give.
That's right. Good job.
She made a mistake. She turned in front of me. There's a lot of factors to it. It wasn't just a stupid mistake. It was a stupid mistake, but it wasn't just a stupid mistake. There was a lot of factors to it. So I felt, first thing is everybody's healthy, everybody's alive. That's the first thing. After that, it's bonus.
Well, you're talking about a series of mistakes, and, I was thinking that sounds like being a City fan. Bad decisions.
Speaking of car crashes.
It could be Sporting defense also. So.
Okay, well, you stole my joke there. Speaking of car crashes, let's talk about Sporting Kansas City.
There we go.
Stealing jokes is the other thing I do fairly well at times. Sorry.
We are the Kansas City Soccer Journal. Please go subscribe, rate, and review if you haven't. We love the reviews. A couple have come in. They help us a lot. They keep us going. I even saw a comment on one of the podcasts, actually, like on Spotify. Someone left us a very nice comment.
Yeah, what'd
they
say?
Thank you. It was, I don't know. I'm recalling this from a long time ago. I don't know why it took me this long to mention that on the show. But yeah, it was very nice, very supportive. Any comments, any reviews, give us those 5 stars. We would very much appreciate it.
And I do relatively often have somebody come up and say, we love the pod, or I listen to the pod every week and things like that. So I don't, not every day, not even every week, but I would say at least once every couple of weeks I have somebody come up and mention that.
Yeah, we have a loyal base. Some episodes will do more than others, but we never drop below a certain number. There's a solid group of you out there that never abandon us, so we appreciate you very much.
And it is higher than 17.
17.
Finally,
Where
yeah,
did you
thank
pick
God.
17?
Got over that hump. Yeah.
That was a big benchmark for us when we got over the 17 mark.
I don't think we've ever been under a few hundred, but
Yeah.
I was just being snarky, man. I'm in a mood. Sorry. That may make for a good podcast. It may not.
And hey, I'm feeling a bit sentimental here. A shout out to Miss Allie Trost. She's now moved on to New York. That's how big her career's gotten. So she got her start basically here.
Yeah.
We'll claim it.
Yeah.
She started in St. Louis also and came here and joined
To the soccer capital of America.
KC Soccer Journal to the home of an MLS original team.
Save some for later, Thad.
And, then was not really with us anymore before there was a startup team across the state. But, that's okay.
Yeah, very happy for her. It was only a matter of time. Once she started doing pieces for them or like filling in for days, I'm like, oh, well, she's going to be full-time there.
Well, Cody, if you hadn't been the videographer for her, who knows what.
It was the Shades of Blue that launched the career. No, she was always a rising star. That's why we were so happy to have her. We knew she was going to very quickly be doing stuff for the team, which she did. And then, yeah.
And I've always tried to like promote her to the team and stuff because I knew she was going to be doing that anyway. So it was just like, let's make sure she has every advantage. And not that I had much help in that, because she was just very good talented.
The good old days at that old studio. She would come in. Had her normal day job. She'd come in all late. We'd do that show at like 9:30 at night. Good times.
Good times.
And she still brought the energy more than I ever have.
Yeah. We missed that. We missed that around here. So last week we had Sperry on. We talked about the 2 games that they had last week, and we were looking for maybe 4 points to show us, okay, maybe they have turned a corner. They won a few games there. We wanted to see something out of these 2 games. 4 points would have been nice. It appears they haven't turned a corner because they came out of this with 1.
We sucked.
So a loss in Vancouver, a disappointing draw versus St. Louis last night. Robert, how do you feel about this?
Well, St. Louis lost to Vancouver, 4-1 in Vancouver. So, we got beat that. But, going in, what city has the most draws in the league? Now they've added 1 more. Our attack isn't exactly the most dynamic attack in the world. So is it a really surprise a draw was the end result?
All right. So I feel like I want to play the other side of this for a moment. So they go to Vancouver and they didn't get the result, but they were closer than a lot of the other teams have been playing Vancouver. St. Louis has a lot of draws, not because they're really good, but because they have Berkey. Okay, he saves them a lot of goals.
That dude,
and he's one of the best keepers in the league at the moment, and he can make so many great saves. So it's not that St. Louis is great. So the test, we may not have the most dynamic offense in the league, but it's not that bad. I mean, the team has scored goals, and we got a guy who knows how to be in the right places at the right time to score goals at sometimes.
Is there anyone else that has a shout for being a better keeper right now than Berkey in the league? I'm drawing a blank on who else you could put there.
I don't know. I mean, I know there's several that have been good. Berkey is the shining light at this moment on the startup team in St. Louis.
He's the last 2 years. He's worth actual points, not just like, oh, that guy saved us a result or we got it. He does it regularly. He gets them wins and draws. It's insane.
He also does a good job of starting their attack as well. So, like the first goal they scored last night. Well, the only goal they scored, yeah.
I'll say the first one. I'm just forgetting something.
First goal of the match, sorry.
Should we talk about Vancouver first before we get too much into that game? Does anyone have any thoughts from that match last week?
It was a game that I thought that they could have got a result out of, a draw.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were good enough to win, but it was one that if it had fallen a little bit their way, they could have got the draw. And of course,
woulda, coulda, shoulda, Thad.
That's the story this year, isn't it?
It did feel like we got our answer though in that game. Like, oh, okay, maybe we're not. Maybe they haven't turned a corner.
I don't know, man. Because again, in a regular season, you go to Vancouver and you lose 2-1. Was it right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You go, okay, they lost on the road. That's not a big deal. only because they're in a spot where you're just looking for positive signs. They beat some bad teams, Austin, Dallas.
But Vancouver is bad at home. They're really, really good on the road and not good at home. They also lost. They got I think, spanked. At least I saw it 2-0 early against Houston at home. So I don't know why they're so good on the road but can't win at home.
Yeah, but that's a statistical thing that's going to even out over time. They're going to be better at home over time. So that's been some fluky stuff. Also.
They're 5-4-2 at home.
Yeah, which is better than some teams.
More wins than we have all year, right?
Right.
Damn it.
Okay, yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about that game last night. Right at the beginning of the game, I think it was like the 8th minute, Johnny Russell storms into the box, as Johnny Russell always does, and got off a shot. It was a good save from Berkey. Rebound came out, and Leibold fired a beautiful curling effort and an amazing save. Berkey is worth every penny on saves like that. He pushes it up on the crossbar and saved them early on.
He deserves more money than what he's getting from them, whatever it is.
Whatever the hell it is, it's not enough.
Well, all that's been coming out of St. Louis with the Carnell being, dropped and Berkey not being happy. So, yeah, not surprising that Adeniran was finally traded away. So, yeah, they've had some issues, and Berkey not being happy is one of them.
Did you hear some of the same rumors from St. Louis that the players went in and demanded Carnell be fired?
No, I did not hear that.
Wow.
I will say I heard that from a reliable source. I'm not saying that that's 100% accurate, but that's what I'd heard, was the players wanted him gone.
Wow.
They were he's not gotten along with Adeniran and a lot of other players, and so he was a very demanding coach that was very unrelenting and never, like Vermes can be a very demanding coach, but at the same time he has the softer side to him that a lot of fans don't see.
Yeah.
But apparently Carnell did not, and the results weren't coming while he was still being demanding. And we knew that style they played last year couldn't last forever, because you just can't do that forever.
I think Sporting played well enough to win last night, but at the same
Vermes.
time, yeah, I agree. Vermes said that. Yes, he did, as he seems to say a lot. Or we were in that position a lot where, we did so good, we should have won, just didn't get it. But I do think that they played well enough to win. Somehow, at the same time, they almost deserved to lose.
Why?
That last minute, was that stoppage time, whatever Tim Melia did? That's how we've talked about this game. We've talked about this team.
He slipped, man. Come on, he slipped.
Is that what happened there? I don't know. We talk about this team a lot where they're fine, they look with it, the defense is okay, and then there's just a random mistake that does them in, and that's why we've been so bad. That's why we lose all these games. And they just somehow got lucky out of this one, that we didn't blow that. So he slipped, Robert. That's what we're going with
and
here?
His foot hit the ball, so he knew he couldn't pick it up because, that's the deal.
Slipped. I think it's more he went to stop. He changed his mind on kicking it right there and tried to stop, and then his foot kicked it, and he was screwed. I don't know.
Whatever. We all had our face in our hands saying, oh, my God. Again, really?
So did you see the quote from Tim about that? I hate to
I
read
did
it.
not.
So he said, I think the strange thing about it, I knew I couldn't touch it, so I just positioned myself. But it was one of those plays where I just put the ball down, picked my head up. I was in the process of doing something. I see kind of something change, and I try to just stop my leg, and it doesn't stop.
Boom.
It just hits my toe, rolls in, and then I'm in a scenario where I knew I couldn't touch the ball. So I was just like, well, just get up to him and sit behind the ball, and he was just as confused.
Okay, good. That's what I was thinking happened.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Not that excuses anything. It was an embarrassing moment.
Oh, good Lord.
I hate to say it, but it does kind of feel like Tim Melia is prone to something like that now. Even the game where we do still know that he can turn in that amazing result, a vintage Tim Melia performance. He did that in the Open Cup. That was a great game. But even in that game, I think it was that game, he had a howler of a moment in that one as well. So it's a little shaky. I don't know, Robert, are you with me on that, or do you feel stout back there with Melia? Or
stout would not be the word I would choose.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
He's still the veteran keeper out of all the keepers that we have. He still, positions himself well to make some of those saves you're talking about.
Yeah.
But there seems to be something just one every 2 games where something freaky happens.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of players will go through, and especially goalies, but a lot of players will go through, cycles where they're really performing well, they're not performing well. I mean, you can look at the current keeper, AD France, has had weeks or series of games where she just wasn't great, and then all of a sudden would turn it on and would be very good. And I think Tim has had periods over the last 4 years, especially, that he's not been great, not necessarily terrible, but he's not been great, and he's made some mistakes, and then he'll pick it up and he'll be just kind of like the old Tim again. But as you get older, that's just going to happen. I mean, sometimes age takes its toll.
Well, okay, I was going to go that way, actually. So, the age that I'm becoming, I find myself thinking more about things that should just be natural, that I've always done. Maybe in a high-pressure situation like a goalkeeper, in this moment particularly, he thought too much instead of just doing what he normally would do. He thought too much about it. That can be a thing, for sure.
Let's dive into this, Robert. What's one of these things in your life that you think more about? Is this like a physical activity
I'm like
or
driving,
something?
and I'm thinking to myself, I start thinking, I'm going around a fairly sharp turn, and I'm going about 70 miles per hour. Wow, that's dangerous. And I start thinking about it. I'm like, oh, shit, if my hand slips, I'm dead.
Are you talking about I-70 leaving downtown to go to sporting the Children's Mercy Park? Because that is a treacherous curve there. Treacherous curve out of downtown.
So I just tell myself, okay, shut up. Just drive. You're fine.
Interesting.
We'll just look to see if you show up every time.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm older than you, right? So I understand. Like, sometimes age takes its toll. Tim's way younger than me, but it's still a lot of games, a lot of stuff. And again, Father Time is undefeated.
You mentioned France earlier. I'm not entirely sold on her. We're going to talk about the current and the Leagues Cup feminine a little bit later. But Thad, why did they not wear the Wizards jerseys? What the hell is up with that?
I got no answers. I think that was the stupidest friggin' decision. I don't know why.
An opportunity to flex our history on our new rivals here? Come on.
And then people are like, oh, well, you wear primaries at home. No, they don't always wear primaries at home. That's stupid. It was, and people are like, oh, you finally got a primary versus primary match. No, again, still stupid. Wear the damn third kit. I wanted photos of the damn third kit in action.
Yeah, that sucks.
And no, they wear it in Vancouver.
We need to add that.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, marketing, right? You got to you want to sell your third kit, you wear it at home so your fans can see it.
Oh, man, I just did not get that decision. I don't know why. I mean, nobody had a good answer when I asked.
Was it like maybe the league says you can't wear it 2 in a row, and we were like on a schedule, had to wear it on Wednesday or something like that?
I'm sure there was some league thing about it, and they had to be ahead of time. I don't know. Again, I don't want to blame too many people, but I just felt like that was a really missed opportunity.
Sidebar on that note, the Portland Timbers archive collection, they're like Washington football team, like Washington Commanders colors. It threw me for a second, and then I was like, oh, that must be archive collection. They actually have deep roots up there in Cascadia. The Pacific Northwest. So
they do.
That's
not all of it in MLS.
That's a throwback to like the 70s, I'm sure, those colors.
We seem to be avoiding talking about the actual game a whole lot.
A little bit. I missed the game. I was at the Royals game because my buddy was sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat. That was very cool. And also, I was a little afraid of this one. I'm not going to lie to you.
Why?
I'm not confident in this team. I know St. Louis is bad too, but I just hate them. I hate the fans. I wanted to get away from it. And the guy who's being honored at the game is leaving today, so it was like
there you go.
Last kind of a goodbye thing.
You did
for
the right thing.
Yeah. And the game was over very early, so I actually got to see the end of this, and I don't feel that I missed a lot. I watched the highlights, but I'm glad I didn't go and see more disappointment.
It was not as big a disappointment as like losing to them, though. So I mean, they've still never beat us in this stadium.
Yeah, it's not that I avoided the disappointment. I just avoided all of that. The banter, the having to deal with the fans.
So, question, Robert, you sit in the stands near where my wife sits.
Yes, I do.
Were you able to hear the cauldron?
Well, I tell you what, St. Louis must have brought a big drum because that thing was loud. So, no, actually, my girlfriend made that comment during the game that I can't hear the Cauldron, but I can hear the St. Louis people. So,
Well, I sat in a spot. I mean, I was very near the St. Louis corner, but also the south stand, and they had drums going. They were doing pretty well, and I don't really know whose drum I heard, so because I was right there in front of both sets.
right.
But yeah, the St. Louis fans were very loud, very strong. Again, away fans who travel tend to be more hyped, and they trying to make a show. But I still felt like I never heard the Cauldron at all. Again, I was in front of two other groups, and the South Stand put up a really valiant effort.
Yeah.
But St. Louis fans were very loud, so I will compliment them on all of that effort.
But the person who is in a suite, and we can debate whether any away fan should be allowed to be in a suite, but they had the sign up there that said, "Welcome to St. Louis West."
City Park West.
Yeah. Come on. You have to beat a team in their own stadium before you can even claim that.
A stadium they have not won a game in.
Yeah.
They are claiming that.
Well, they were claiming at times that they had more fans than us. They
did not.
It was sad that we have that many open seats for St. Louis fans to come over. And again, they're motivated right now. I mean,
it's all they got, Thad.
They're a newbie team. They don't have a lot of history. They're traveling well.
You ain't got no history.
They're going to a MLS original city, and they're trying to show off. I understand that. That's what other newbie teams have done in the past. Toronto, Atlanta,
I'm happy for them. They've
Right.
got this thing finally. Finally, their city got their shit together, and they got a team. And
it's a new concept for them.
It's new. It's fun. It's cool. It's exciting. Get everything out of it you can, you newbies. Good for them.
They're trying to show up an MLS original team, but, they haven't been able to really do it yet. They got some wins last year in their stadium.
We beat them at their stadium in the playoffs.
Yeah, we did.
A win when it mattered. But, it still comes down to we have a history. Well, the fortunes of teams will wax and wane. They will be good. They will be bad. They go through cycles. That happens to every team. Every team in the world goes through those cycles. And we have a history. And they're just trying to find one.
The worst thing is just that we're on the bottom side of that cycle once they finally got a team, and we're in our darkest days over here.
It only took them 1 year to get in their darkest.
Yeah. Not much to compare it to, though. That's the thing. So, Robert, did you disagree with the idea that Sporting should have won, played well enough to get the win? You were surprised by the XG number.
Yeah, I didn't walk away thinking, oh, wow, Sporting really played well. They should have won that game. I walked away with, our attack is so easy to just the other team play compact and just defeat us and slow us down because we have nobody who can do anything against that kind of, packed-in defense.
We need that maestro, that attacking midfielder, a fancy-footed attacking midfielder.
That we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah.
But we just, so easily the way we play is to do that, just shut us down, and that's what they did. We had, 14 shots inside the box, 11 of them blocked. And, Cody probably is going to talk about Willie Agata now.
Well, let's just look at those those numbers here.
11 total shots blocked, not necessarily the ones from inside the box.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Clarifying that.
So that's where that high XG came from, Robert. From FootMob, 2.19 XG for Sporting Kansas City, 20 shots total, 14 shots inside the box. I mean, if you're shooting 14 times in the box, you're going to fall into an accidental 2 XG. And St. Louis was at 0.8 XG on 10 shots.
Yeah, I'm not sure we handled their counterattack style very well. The goal that they scored, we were outmanned number-wise. We got beat. Leibold got beat on the initial pass, and then we had arguably three guys get beat in the box on that counter because we were just pedaling back. So playing that high line the way we did with Castellanos and Valder, and I don't know if that was a wise decision or not.
Ugly effort from our defense on that counter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the same thing we talk about almost all the time. It's the same story, and it's that, okay, the other team plays compact, they counter, we don't always match that well, depending on who you have back there. Sometimes it's better. They handled a lot of it well. And in this case, the one guy who scored probably shouldn't even been on the field.
Right.
But I know we'll probably talk about that in a second. I don't think it was a bad effort. I mean, you don't have either of what you would consider two starting center backs in there.
Yeah, but it wasn't, again, walking away from that saying, oh, we really should have won that game. We were the better team.
You can walk away from that saying that we were a better team, but just not like so significantly better that it was like, oh, we got robbed and, the soccer
Okay, so
gods
it wasn't
hate us.
inspiring. How about that?
No, it wasn't inspiring.
What else we got from this game?
Well, we subbed one time, right? We've played how many games in how many days, including Wednesday night. And we do one sub until FIFA with, 3 or 4 minutes left. And that was it. City, similar schedule. Over the period, though, they haven't played as many games. They use all 5 of their subs. So I'm just sitting there thinking, you're telling me that nobody on our bench can come in and do anything better than anyone who's been playing this whole match in any aspect to change the way this game is playing out. Is that what you're telling me? That's what you tell me when you don't sub.
I was going to say, I bet Thad says yes to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, the only other player they could have brought in was Vargas. That would have made a difference. But that's his difference is when you're the one under pressure and you're going to, like, break free with a guy with speed. He's not going to come in and break down guys. We've talked about he's a great player. He's learning. Great player is a bad term, but he's a good player. He's still learning. I don't know what his potential, final result is, but he has speed, and that is his strength. When you're the one controlling the play, he's not going to break guys down. He's not the dynamic.
Yeah, but he's going to do something different than Shallowy was doing, let's say, for example, which, the defender is not prepared for, hasn't been playing against that all game, something that could make a difference. You're telling me that nobody on the bench should come in and do something a little bit different that might change this game.
Well, I personally think they should have brought a Frifa in earlier. Again, he's not being so he's not a superstar off the bench guy. He's a guy who's starting to get his rhythm and starting to, get better. I just don't think Vargas is the skill set that you bring in that situation. He's not just different doesn't necessarily make it better.
Can though.
It can, but I don't necessarily think it will.
So you're closing yourself off to even the possibility of it by not making any of these subs.
The team was offensively being better than St. Louis. Again, we just read the stats.
Are you a Vermes clone?
No, I'm just looking at what we had on the bench.
He's a Vermes apologist.
Yeah, well, probably.
Are we surprised Voltaire went the whole 90 last night? It's only, his second game starting?
Yeah. I would say surprised, but as Peter said, it wasn't his weakness of being, capable of playing lots of minutes.
Yeah.
So just that he hadn't played a lot recently. So
Polito and Agata connect on the goal. Agata, I just don't know how it keeps happening. He keeps scoring goals.
he's in the right spot.
He's in the right spot, which is on the goal line. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's happening, but I love it.
Again, you get enough chances, even when you're not great, you score goals, but not everybody else is doing that. So I'm just more actually impressed by the ball that Polito dropped in there. He dropped it into the right spot, and a lot of guys who were natural wingers haven't been doing that very well lately.
That ball might have been going in the net.
No,
It might have hit the post at least. Like it was. Not that he was trying to shoot it. He knew. I think that's exactly who he was trying to pass to. I think that was a very deliberate chipped ball in there. So that was well taken from Polito. Good to see him doing something
a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's times I watch and I'm like, when I'm watching in the game and I'm like, okay, I'm not so impressed. But sometimes when I'm watching the replays back, I'm like, okay, that was better than I thought it was. He was doing some things, but he just hasn't been as good as we would want him to be. Obviously, I want him to make some of those turns and get those shots and score, because I think he's in positions that 2 years ago, last time he was fully healthy, he was taking those shots and sliding them through, and now he's not. But it also is partly the difference that he's being a little bit more of a playmaker. But I was surprised to see him out wide a lot last night.
He was, yeah. Okay, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Thad, every time we play St. Louis, they amaze me on how bad they are at trash talking. All they ever do. Well, we mentioned. I guess that's where this comes from, right? They had NFL. They're Cardinals fans. Cardinals fans are the worst. They're even worse, I think. But Robert, for instance, You mentioned earlier the City Park West thing. All their trash talk is they've just heard someone else say this thing that they thought it sounded good and they just use it again. Saying City Park West in a stadium you have never won in does not make any sense. That burn, that dig does not apply there. They heard it, sounded good, let's do that too. You know what I mean? It's just like cry more. Anything they hear that you just always hear in banter, and whether it applies to the situation or not. I saw a lot of comments, a lot of retweets, quote tweets from the foul on Radoja when Thoresen, as you said earlier, Thad, maybe shouldn't even have been on the field at a certain point, on a yellow card, stomps directly on Radoja's ankle. The screenshot is pretty horrifying to look at when you hear that there was no repercussion. He didn't see any card, didn't see a second yellow, didn't see a straight red, nothing, Thad.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that because I got the shot. I'm like, I have his foot going down on Nemanya's ankle and foot, and I'm like, okay, how is that not a card? And again, refs can make mistakes, refs can miss things. I just thought it was pretty obvious, and I do think that it was I just gave him a yellow 2 minutes ago, so I'm not going to give him another one right away. And that's not really the way reffing is supposed to work.
No, it's not.
So what are some of these comments and tweets you saw?
A lot of their fans, it feels like they've read the Reddit MLS meme day thread, and they just repeat things that they have seen before. Kind of going with what you said earlier, Cody. It's that they don't have a history. They are just copying what other people have done. And, they're trying to find their identity. They're wearing costumes to games like sporting fans did early on. There's a guy with a fried ravioli head last night. And kudos to them being fans. Kudos to them being excited. I would be also for a new team. They're just trying to find their way. And right now it's annoying.
One of these comments is, this bum is diving before he's even touched. So this person saw that play. He even shares the actual picture of the studs going into his ankle and called it a dive.
Wrong.
I always thought St. Louis was supposed to have a soccer history and supposed to be a lot of knowledgeable soccer fans. It's obvious they're not.
I know.
But there's always going to be stupid fans.
That the bit that you've been doing this whole time about the no history and a new team and all of that, that is absolutely what is going on here. It seems so clear to me, the things they say online, the banter they have, that the online voting means everything to them. They'll dominate all the online voting. It's so clear to me that it's just a bunch of, they're newbies. I remember way back when, I remember living that life when we were first adopting all of this, or when you first really started following Sporting Kansas City or whatever. It's cute, but you know what? We've been waiting for it. I think I would rather them be a more mature fan base and team after they've got some years under their belt, because it's just annoying now. I want to see more clever throwbacks. They need some history in these games that they can call back to. They just need more. They have no content to whip out in the banter.
They're very much copying Sporting's after the name change, after the rebrand. And a lot of new fans came in, and that was good. There was a new stadium. There was a lot of hype.
Yeah.
The style is actually very similar to what
It is.
Sporting was. Very high pressure, dynamic forwards and, making runs and all that type of stuff.
Some might say that's a relic of MLS and that the league has moved beyond that.
Yeah, you can have a successful season doing that, and they did. But you can't sustain it over too long of a time, because it will wear players out, and they will end up not being happy or injured, and we know that history.
So nobody's going to both sides this? That should have been a second yellow at the very least?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, definitely. But I think the referee's decision was what Thad said. I don't want to really impact this game and give him a card right away, even though it's a clear call.
It was arguably a red, but it was also arguably a yellow, and the VAR ref didn't want to say, and I understand Vermes last night saying the VAR ref could have very easily said, hey, it's a potential red. And they went over there and said, okay, it really, really was a second yellow.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the ref would have still given it, because I think he was not wanting to affect the game. When it's the player's actions that affect the game, you just need to ref based upon the player's actions.
But if you're a referee and you're reffing a rivalry game, aren't you more inclined to give out the yellow, keep control of the game, and make
Apparently
sure
not.
make sure that 2 minutes later that Sporting that Johnny Russell's not going to come stud somebody as because there were no repercussions for this. Just seems like that's where refs normally default to in games like this,
It
right?
should, but they don't tend to do that a lot of times.
So after the City goal, do you think Peter did A or B? A, walk over and chew out the fourth official. That guy shouldn't even be on the field. Or he's over like, so that guy that just scored for City really shouldn't be on the field.
Which one sounds more like
Which do you think
Vermes
Peter
to
would
you?
do?
One of them is very clearly. I think you did a Vermes impression in the first one.
Well, it's actually like sometimes he chews out the fourth official, but sometimes he gives a look over to Zoran, and Zoran goes over and chews the fourth official. And I don't know if that's what happened last night. I was too busy watching other stuff, but it actually is kind of interesting because sometimes he does chew the fourth official, sometimes he chews the AR on that side, and sometimes he sends a delegate to do the chewing, and it's Zoran or Carey, usually Zoran, that does the other chewing, as far as I've noticed.
Okay, good to know.
But yeah, it should have been. I'm also always surprised too, like, you know how a player will be just kind of like, shepherding a ball out that the other team last touched, and apparently it is quite all right to just come over and shove that player, and they fall into the ball, and now it's out on them. So it's apparently quite okay for some refs that's within the rules. I think we should have done that more ourselves last night, apparently.
Leagues Cup is coming up on Sunday, Thad. We've got Chicago. Not a lot of people are big on the Leagues Cup, but maybe there's some news before the Leagues Cup.
I don't know if it's before, but Peter did, because I asked him, the transfer window, and because my point was that St. Louis has already brought in players, and they two of them played last night. One of them played, the other one did too, right? New players for St. Louis. They had reinforcements already, and Peter basically said that we're close. We want to have somebody in that can get in for the Leagues Cup and get some time in so that we can get them we'll be able to use them for the Open Cup and for the last part of the season. So I don't know if that means for this game, but they haven't made an announcement. If it'll be for the next game, or Peter expects to make a deep run in Leagues Cup. But I don't know. He made it sound like there would be a player coming. He also made it sound like Logan Ndembe was very close to coming back.
How close?
Really, 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 really close. He said
That was
really
7.
7 times.
I counted 7.
Hey, Leagues Cup is a perfect time for Logan to get some minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Thad, I have a question here. On our rundown, I had written maybe an addition by Leagues Cup, and you have edited the word maybe.
Yes.
No, that's a typo. That was me, probably swiping. So
Well, you did it twice. While we were recording, I fixed it, turned it back to maybe, and then now it is back again as Mawasby. So I thought, well, I'm only doing this here while we're recording because I thought you did it again to make a point. No, I wanted that to say Mawasby instead of maybe.
I think somewhere in here I reset the save mode or something. It's not. I'm doing this by phone, so I apologize. It's not like the player's name. There's not like some guy named Mawasby.
That's what I thought. It had something to do with that.
This is like my secretly trying to hint that there's a
he's got a
Nigerian
name.
attacking player named Mawasby coming in.
Yeah. I thought you were teasing a name here. I got excited.
I apologize.
I just threw it to you, and it ended up just being Boomer's technological incompetence.
Actually, he
did not like that one at all.
I will admit to fat fingering on my phone, but technological incompetence I'm not going to own up to.
Okay. How about you give me your take on the upcoming Leagues Cup? Are you into it this year?
I am probably one of the more vocal proponents of Leagues Cup just because it's another tournament. It's more games. It's more soccer. It's teams I don't get to see so often. I'm a little more not so into it this year than I probably would have been last year because I'm just still worried about the health of the team. And but I just don't want to risk players that, I still hold out hopes for the season. I know they're not very high hopes, but until we're mathematically eliminated, I don't give up. How about you, Robert?
Damn straight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more excited about the Open Cup semifinal, so I'm upset that we have 2 League Cups games before that even happens.
Yeah.
I'd rather see that Open Cup semifinal first and then go on with Leagues Cup, sure, because I want to see, I want to see us make a final. That's what I'm excited about.
And it's possible. Sporting plays Indy 11. It's a USL championship team that's done well. They deserve to be there. They've won their games.
Right.
It'll be hosted at Sporting at Children's Mercy Park. But the final will not be at Children's Mercy Park. There's absolutely no way. So the draw was, it'll be either at LA or Seattle.
And Chicago in the Leagues Cup on Sunday. Chicago is 14th in the Eastern Conference, only above New England at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. So look at that.
So there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance.
Not sure about.
How many losses does Chicago have?
They have 12 losses.
We have 14. Yes, we haven't beat.
How many points they have? I mean, what's the points wise?
25.
Yeah, got us beat by 2.
Yeah.
Man, we've been playing all of these teams down here. 2 games versus FC Dallas, just above us on the table. Game versus St. Louis. We played San Jose recently. And now we're getting Chicago.
Okay,
Not
should
gonna-
be a victory against Chicago, right? And then we'll see what happens versus that.
Should it?
Pachuca?
Should it be a victory?
Or did I see that wrong? Is that who the Current's playing?
The Current is
Yeah,
playing Pachuca.
No, see.
All right. That the NWSL and Liga MX Femenil Summer Cup has already kicked off. Tracy Curran 3-1 win over the Houston Dash.
Both teams very depleted too. The Houston Dash more depleted, but still, it was both teams missing a lot of players.
I love me some Spanglish, but this name is odd to me.
What?
That it's Femenil is in there, but then we just call it the Summer Cup. Why don't we just call it the Women's Summer Cup?
Because they had to get some kind of Spanish in there.
I guess so.
I mean, it's a nod to it being against and jointly with Liga MX. Well, actually, Liga MX Femenil is the women's league in Mexico. So it's NWSL
Oh, I see.
and Liga MX
There you go.
Femenil. So that's
Okay.
actually why. So it is the Summer Cup. It's just we're kind of butchering it. And
Copa de Verano. Right, Dad? What's your
believe-
streak up to on Duo?
Oh, man. I don't know. It's
I
way
think
up there.
you don't ever use a streak freeze on Duolingo, do you?
I haven't in a very, very long time.
Yeah, because at one point we talked about this. I was way ahead of you on a streak. I have fallen off hard on Duolingo, and I've been using a lot of streak freezes. And you might be approaching me. We might have almost the same streak.
I'm on 632.
That's
I
like
have not,
right where I'm at.
I haven't done one today. Sometimes I, do one after midnight and then don't have to worry for the rest of the day. I'm very good about doing the monthly challenge.
638.
All right, I think here's what needs to happen. I need to hear a discussion in Spanish between you two.
No, don't do that to me yet.
No, I'm much better at reading than I am at
I told you I've fallen off heavily. I'm really rusty. I do one lesson
Oh,
a day
man,
right now.
disappointed.
Just to keep the streak alive, I do one
Disappointed.
lesson.
It's the
I was going to give you a topic even.
I actually have thought about this. Like, we need to come in and have 2 lines kind of we can speak, and then we keep upping that ante every
That's good.
week.
That's good. I like that.
So that'll be our personal challenge, is that we'll try to have something that we can do. 'Cause
And our listeners will learn Spanish as we do it. Look at that.
Or heavily critique you, which is what I'm hoping happens.
Yes, that's more like it.
I can sometimes barely speak English, so I don't think that I'm ever going to be good at speaking Spanish again, but my goal is to be able to understand more. And
Right.
when I accidentally ended up with 4 Peruvians in my car that one time, I felt fairly confident that if they were plotting something back there in Spanish, I
That
would
was
be able
pretty
to
recent.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was after the Canada-Peru game. I was talked into giving one guy a ride, and it went from 1 to 4.
Okay, are you done?
Cody starts these things and then doesn't like when I actually continue to ramble about those things.
I want to hear what's the reaction in the NWSL women's soccer community to this tournament? Is it being met with the resistance that the Leagues Cup was?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty much embraced just because it's more women's soccer.
Yeah,
and
more games, baby.
For the most part, the NWSL community, I think, has embraced it way more. There will always be detractors of everything, but
Next up is Pachuca.
yeah. And I would like to say I know something about them.
Yeah. Is it fair to say NWSL is above Liga
Yes.
MX Femenil?
Yes.
This is the topic I was going to choose for you guys to discuss.
Oh my God! There's no way I could have done that in Spanish. I could, if you want to just talk about a game, like the. Yes. See, good job, Dad. The range of vocabulary goes way down. Like you can just equipo and campo, and you can just do like pelota, and you can just do like the number of things on a field and game and ball, and like it's all pretty team.
And this is my biggest complaint about Duolingo is like, okay, I understand words about ordering food, but I need soccer vocabulary more.
I think they
You can't
have
specify it.
No, they have things like that.
Okay.
Maybe not in the app, but they Duolingo has lessons and blogs and whatever that you could look at that would give you a boost for soccer and sports lingo. They did one for the World Cup. I remember that last World Cup they had a.
I probably, if I wasn't,
I think it was trash talk. They gave trash talk things.
if I wasn't just doing the cheap free version, maybe I would know more of that.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, I'm trying to talk about women's soccer here, and we keep getting back to Thad's Spanish lessons.
Even a very understaffed Current was clearly a better team than Houston.
Yeah. Yeah.
They started as pretty much as strong a lineup as they could, and they got some other players some minutes that they wouldn't normally. I was actually a little disappointed that they didn't get Jordan Silkowitz in there and get her a start, but they got some other players in there, so we'll see how that goes.
We already talked about Logan almost coming back. He
Really close.
why didn't he play? I almost thought he was acting like he was going to be ready for this one. It seemed like we were going to get a glorious return of Logan and Denbe, the St. Louis shitty killer.
Exactly. That would have been beautiful.
We need like Logan and Dembe music to play when it comes on.
Glorious return.
Which by the way, this is a very heavy critique of the Cauldron, is we need player specific chants that are more players, and we need to be able to have that go across the stadium. And
I was trying to not pile on to the Cauldron earlier whenever you were talking about that, but it's just lame lately, man.
Pile on like it's a goal celebration, and Willie got us smacking somebody's ass during a goal celebration.
Cauldron's got a ways to go to return to their former glory. I don't know how to fix it.
That's one of the things I don't think they've ever done well, is having very player-specific chants.
Yeah,
they'll
true.
have a couple.
That's true.
Now,
Timmy
and
Tim
things
Melia's
like that,
song that's a banger. That's like the best one.
JFR. Yeah, woohoo.
So Logan was gone. We were also missing Pulse Camp and Jake Davis.
Yeah.
Who have they already gone? Are they already in Paris for the Olympics?
They're gone. Pulse Camp left before the Vancouver game.
Yeah.
Jake left after.
He didn't play in Vancouver.
No, it was after the Dallas games, the Open Cup game.
Could have used Jake last night.
Yeah. And somebody asked that, and Peter said, we really miss having him as an option. And then I saw a couple of tweets like, well, you didn't have to let him go. Well, that would be kind of a shitty thing for Vermes to do, is hold a player, especially in that kind of situation where they might get a chance to play in the Olympics. They're in an alternate, but the alternate rules are different, and they can come on and off the alternate list much easier than they did in the past. So there's a possibility he could at least get a bench at the Olympics.
The men kick off the group stage of the Olympics on Wednesday versus France, and the women are the next day on Thursday versus Zambia. How are you feeling about both of the teams, Thad? Are we going to get some medals out of this?
No.
At
least on the men's side, they're not going to probably get a medal. They might do well. But
Walker Zimmerman's not going to carry them to glory?
Who else they got? There's
I forget who the three are. Do you know off the top of your head, Robert?
Miles Robinson.
Yes.
And
Walker Zimmerman, and I am forgetting that third.
It's an attacking player, is it not?
Oh, it's
Ariola.
Mihailovic.
Yes.
Oh, Mihailovic, yeah.
Yes.
And again, on the men's side, it's a U23 tournament with 3 overage players. On the women's side, it's a full national team call-up.
So the men are playing the host for the first game. Tough draw there. But the other 2 teams in their group, what is it, Guinea and New Zealand?
Yeah.
Correct? Should be able to get out of the group, right?
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they should beat Guinea. They stand a reasonable chance to beat New Zealand. They should. Again, you never know with tournaments, man. One weird red card,
cards. Yes.
Yeah.
Can end a coach's career, that sort of thing. But there's a lot of good teams, Spain and Argentina, Japan spanked them, twice here in Kansas City, once that people could see. Who
Love
knows?
the Olympics. Sports has been so amazing recently with the Copa, the Euros. I'm obsessed with Le Tour de France. That's just been an entire month. That's wrapping up, and right when that's done, the Olympics are starting. Amazing.
And you got a 14-year-old debuting in MLS.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Oh, can I go back and make one complaint about the NWSL Liga MX Femenil Summer Cup?
Yes.
They have 5 groups, but 4 first-place teams advance. Who the hell came up with that math?
What?
Okay. What?
Yeah, it's exactly
So
right.
how
Yeah.
does it work then? 5 groups, 4, and only 4 teams advance. So just the worst of the group winners still gets nothing.
Right. 4 group winners advance, and
Interesting.
1 does not.
And that's it.
Yeah. Like, why not
Wow.
just add a
What
couple
the hell?
extra second-place teams to advance?
What the
But
hell?
I
weird.
just don't. I mean, that is one of the worst tournament organization logics I've ever noticed.
It's CONCACAF doing it, right?
No, CONMEBOL.
Oh, is it not?
No,
No, it's
just
not CONMEBOL either.
no. It's
I
just
know,
the
I'm
two.
making a joke.
Yeah, that's our league and Mexico's league. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do with CONCACAF. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, CONMEBOL.
We're used to those two messing up. We're used to the mess of CONMEBOL and CONCACAF.
right.
This should be better.
and don't be blaming the United States for bad ticketing or bad security in a final. That's
Right.
CONMEBOL. Okay, that's them. That's
Or,
totally on
dealing
them.
with the press. I mean,
Yeah, well, that was bad, but I just don't want to be like so whiny about it.
Merrick tweeted very quickly after all that, pretty much just saying, "Yeah, that ain't us. We're not Miami. We're gonna do this way better than that. We can only hope."
Yeah, I mean, these stadiums are used to holding big events. They're used to hosting world or Super Bowls and things like that. So it is on the organizers. It is on the people who run things. And we saw how bad, up close and personal, CONMEBOL can be.
CONMEBOL rejected a wider perimeter around the stadium
Right.
that they already have set up for the World Cup. That's going to be the perimeter for the World Cup. And they were like, no, we don't even need that. And the perimeter was way closer to the stadium, and people are
Wow.
just climbing fences.
I don't
Nice.
know, man. It's
the U.S.'s fault, right? No. Get out of here.
it's like it's a Secret Service operation or something.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts this week. How do we put a bow on this episode?
There's a lot of soccer to play, and I enjoy games. So I'm still going to
Still
have
having fun.
At least somewhat.
Johnny still bounds into the box and can make things happen.
Willie
Still-
Agata's
still
still
some
going to
fun.
piss off Cody.
Yeah.
You know, can I just have a small rant for just a second? I mean,
Yes, please.
there's lots of rants that I would
Small
love to do.
rant. We'll see how small it is.
It won't be too huge. Brian Dunseth, I like the guy. And I think it was him last night that's like, oh, yeah, it's understandable they didn't give a second yellow on Thoresen and all this stuff.
Ugh.
But then he makes this comment about Johnny Russell, I'm going to do a good throwback. He makes that statement and says, Preki had a left foot that people couldn't beat. And I'm like, Johnny, man, I love Johnny, but don't put Johnny and Preki
that's a different
in
left
the
foot.
same comment there. I
Yeah.
mean, they're different people. Johnny's a great guy. He's a good player. He's been a great player, but don't put him in the same concept of Preki and a left foot.
The only
That's
comparison is just the same team and left-footed. That's the only
Right.
comparison.
Johnny can sometimes pull out that magic, but that's not in the same category.
Nope.
I'm sorry.
Well, I don't even see it as like that's disrespectful to Preki. It's just their style is just so different. Like
just-
smash and grab versus, maybe more classy and
yeah. I mean,
Sounds like a comment a St. Louisan would make, not knowing history.
no. Dunseth is he's Salt Lake.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
I mean, there's a S and an L in there, but that's much. I mean, that's pretty much just like so much loser. That's
I also heard, speaking of the broadcast, that Nate started the game after the whistle with "back at it again."
no.
He did. He did. Thanks, Nate, for the shout out. I know that's exactly what he was doing. It was all for us. All right. Midweek off until we've got Chicago this weekend in Leagues Cup. I'm trying to get myself up for it. Messi made the Leagues Cup fun last year. Maybe
Yes,
it'll be kind
yes,
of
he
fun.
did.
Maybe it'll be kind of fun this year.
I don't
it's a
think
chance
we'll
to
see him
win
this year.
against a bad team that we can. It's a competition we're not terrible in yet. So there's some hope there.
Columbus Crew's going all the way.
Sporting!
Don't seem so tough. And 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin. Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.